Hi everyone, how are you? Today we're going to discuss something really important, and that is the importance of the importance of the well-being and your well-being and not to be stressful basically, and basically to be your well-being and your to be very very at ease, not to feel stressed out. That's what's important. And as well as highly to be highly at stake, that there may be challenges or not, just to look at the positive side, as well as to think about the different things that are important, and that is the different things that are important, that's coming up, not to be stressed out. Now, a lot of people may think that that's kind of kind of impossible or opposite. They may have it. What's important is that you may have these career choices, as a kind of as a kind of you know as these career choices as a kind of motivation for you, and for a chance for you to have a kind of better well-being and a better chance for you to think about different things. So it's important for you, obviously. Now, if you have fun and it's going great, then you don't have to worry. This is only for people who stress out, or who never thought about it as like that in that way. Maybe they are stressed, and why not? Some people, they may not take the chance. They think that their strength is the stress part, which is which is not which is um, which is not bad. Okay, however, you just have to think about it. Maybe in the end you'll face problems, right? um, so so in this case, you need to really think about what you have here. So if you're stressed out, that's great right now. Maybe you'll have other problems in the future, maybe not. Okay, I just want you to think about it. You may, think about, what about, some people it's their character, but what about if I just sit down and make it more interesting? If some people it's opposite, like, wow, they're stressed out, they have a challenge, it's really bad. Okay, so I really need this. Sometimes you have to change the job. It's not going great, right? And it's here what's important for you in this. That's what I want to get at. Now, this is a big topic, and there's a lot written on it if you want to research on career counseling. However, or just in general, in general, just career in general. There's so much, even pop career. There's so much written about it, but here you just have to think about the different options that you have. It may be that it's not right now the right time to leave the job, or it may be that I am stressed out. That's what I'm getting to. Okay, it's actually good, but guess what? It's actually good, but guess what? Why don't I really think about other things that I need, like basically your priorities. What are your priorities right now? Okay, so that's what I'm getting into now. Obviously, well-being is very important. You should think about it if you don't have it, especially in your career. Now, it's important and essential, obviously, in everything. However, well, also what I want to get to is that you don't stress out to have well-being. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay, that's very important. Now, some people, they don't like psychology in general because they feel it's stressful as a subject. the whole, process is actually, you know, or counseling is actually very stressful, then it's not doing the job. And that's not wrong. And that's actually a pretty good point that until now, um, a lot of cultures talk about, right? Unfortunately, that's a big actually issue and it's controversial. Does it mean that, yeah, obviously there are a lot of problems and there are a lot of factors and variables in psychology that if you look at its history, if you research, a lot of factors, okay? It's actually not one of the favorable factors or courses or, I don't know, studies or branches or whatever. And it's not the only one, right? There are a lot in medical school and different sciences that we have today, but especially in psychology, because it does have the objective and it's not like, no, it should be there. It's not like, no, we it's like a dream. No, it's not. It should in actual terms be there. Okay, you'll find that of there are a lot of subjects and people and sciences that think about that it should be there. Okay, these science subjects we're talking about, these populations, they base it on that. If you don't have that, it doesn't work out. Okay, so this is an important point here in actuality, in the practical world. Okay, so here obviously we're in theory, but in the practical world, it should be there. Okay, I know it's hard or opposite. Some people do have it and they're really successful, and that's their base in life, and that is very positive, and they know. Okay, that kind of stigma, if you have, or that fear, some people, they do have fear and stigma, especially from psychology or different things. Okay, and that's not wrong. Okay, yeah, that's, yourself. It's not a coincidence, and it's there. It's there. It means there's something. Okay, but we don't want to be scared of the stigma. Now these things, they come. So if you are in this population where career is a kind of it's kind of it's kind of like really really stressful, or it's you're scared of it, then you should think about putting, calming yourself down, because I bet there are chances and factors for you out there, or even if you're not searching and you're in actual career, it's there. Do you see? So this is what's important. What's important here is that it's there. Okay, it's there. It's there, and it is actually a main factor for many people in success. And we will talk about now. We don't want to be stressed out about it, but um, we will talk about some things that make it really really effective and really strong, if that makes sense. Okay, so these individuals, you'll find usually they're organized and everything else. All of these come afterwards. It's like what's it called, Scrabble, right? You have, or dominoes. Okay, dominoes, you have one. Okay, and then you have all of them in a stack, or cards that you play with. If you put them all in a stack, and then you put one down, you put one card down, or you put one domino down, and it all goes down. Okay, or Scrabble, the same thing. It just works out. Okay, in that sense. Okay, so in that sense, you need to actually think about all of these factors. All these factors are really really important, and they all come by when you start with having the actual well-being or non-stress. So instead of thinking about going to your work and screaming and shouting the whole time, which is actually, or maybe that's your character, that's fine if you're not stressed. Okay, if it's not stressful, basically you don't think like, you're not stressed out from it, that's fine. Maybe it's your character. But if you're screaming and shouting, you're stressed out, and you're going down, and your fuel is going down, and you're not comfortable, your comfort zone, then that's wrong. You should always have a comfort zone, okay, in the daily life. So or for example, your character is actually, you're very, very quiet, but you're stressed. That's also bad, right? You're a very quiet, calm person. However, you are stressed out. You should think about your comfort and well-being, okay, here, because in the end, it's not about, it may be everything's going right, but from inside you are burning out, and that's wrong. You should be comfortable from inside to outside, and it may be that you have, and like you said, it's not a coincidence. However, if you feel like, something, this is my strength, it's not the time, then that's great. You know yourself. Okay. And that's what's important. The same thing in searching for career and everything else. You should not feel stressed out. On the contrary, you should have fun with it. You should just go. Okay. And you should think about, it's a chance for me. Think about the positive side. Think about the positive points. And obviously you think about the opportunities that you may get from this. Okay. So it maybe then doesn't come again. Maybe a travel to a country. Instead of thinking about this time it takes, instead of thinking about how you can prepare and your actual job, and think about, it's the, I maybe I cannot go to that country again. Maybe I won't have that job offer again. Okay. Maybe the colleagues I'll meet, or the maybe the colleagues I meet, or the people who the experience itself is a unique experience. That's nice, that you can get. You're on the plane and you have 5 hours, 6 hours. This experience I won't get except there. That does make a difference. Okay. In that sense, this is really important. This is important to have the self-talk, or a kind of futuristic thinking for the future. This is what's important. If you don't have that, then you need to have that from that kind of approach, basically. Especially, sometimes you get opportunities, and that's great, and you want to get them. You don't want, basically, this factor to take over you. Okay. You want to have it easy. And guess what? You can take that. You don't even see challenges. You see it positive. So when you take the unique opportunity, okay, you're at 6 hours and you go, guess what? Yes, there's another opportunity, and it's far away, or maybe it's near, but it has the same kind of characteristics. Because you were successful, we want you, for example. Guess what? You get the next one. That doesn't usually happen. Okay. Usually they want you, they want to get to know you for 4 months, and then afterwards you form a trust, and you form that. That's what you should talk to yourself. Okay. I form a trust. I wouldn't get this job after 2 years. Like, maybe they would tell you in the interview, but we really liked, maybe, I don't know, your approach or the work you had for after a week, or getting to know you. They liked your character. So why, you're in, basically want you. You wouldn't want to miss that. Right. And it's true. Maybe 6 months, a year or 2 years at least, here you just get it. Okay. That rarely happens. And if it gets to you, then that's great. Why? Because that kind of factor, you put it down, and it's not a challenge. It's actually opposite. It's a opportunity, and it's something that is one of a kind. So you take it. Okay. Obviously you take it. You don't think about the other things. You don't think about the other kinds of things that you usually think about. Okay. Wow. Yeah, that's great. Okay. Now, on another side, if, for example, you were, or you tried as much as possible. It didn't work out. It didn't work out, unfortunately. Because it didn't work out, then as much as you tried, everything goes down. Okay. It's like you're doing I don't know, you're trying to build. Okay. If you're maybe you're trying to build a building in a place, or um okay, yeah, so you're trying maybe to build, I don't know, if you're an engineer trying to build, it doesn't work out. Then you have to either, if you really insist, see, or you just need to leave. Okay. And usually, from experience from experience, people from experience usually in that sense, and from research, and for me as a career counselor, and personally, I believe that usually if you try many times, then you have to leave. Okay, I know it doesn't, because sometimes people, they, sometimes you want the job for different reasons, right? It's not only to have fun or opportunity. No, it's actually the opposite. It's existential, or because I really there's no job in the market, then this is my opportunity. Guess what? If it's really going down, that's a sign that you um maybe you will maybe you will lose you will lose something. Okay. So yeah, in the end, maybe you're stressed out. um Maybe, don't forget that you don't want to, you don't want them basically to depend on you if you have such a bad experience. Okay. Even if it's essential, guess what? Maybe you have other good opportunities. Think about the bright side, the good side, the positive side. Search for other jobs. Don't give up. Okay. Well, maybe the next one will be like that. No, not necessarily. Look at your uh, you look at your skills, look at your benefits. Okay, this is important. Look at other places, and try not to do the same mistake, in the sense of, you know you don't want to have any kind of negative negative or fights with the school. Did you see what I mean? So here, when we're talking you're stressed out and everything, it's not working out, we're not saying you're having any fights. If it goes to a fight, then yes, it's an alarm. It's an alarm that you have to, think about other opportunities right away, because it's not a good sign. It's not here who's right and wrong, it's here it doesn't work out. Think about it in a positive way. Don't go down. Don't think. Look up. Okay, in the sense of, you want to right away look at another place, and you don't want to be in a place where you have negative thinking to that degree. Here we're not talking who's right and wrong. Here we're talking about who is you know who's basically here, the negative and positive. Okay, so for any reason this place is not for you, and there is a negative, and you don't want to you don't want to think about it in that way. Okay, so you don't want to continue in a place where it's very, very, that to that degree. You always want to be professional in your career. If it went to that degree, you have to look for another job right away, and you have to see how you want to end the work. So you don't want to be at all. You don't want to be personal. You don't want to have any attachment to that work, even if it's essential, because it's not good for your career and your professional. Okay. So so this is important. Now it goes back to, if you feel like, it's something important. It's like as if you're in a university and you have to graduate from that university. You can't change your universities, let's say. Okay, yeah, okay, then that's different. It goes back to, okay, you don't want to take a decision and it goes against you. Okay, you want to take a decision and goes with you. Okay, so as much as possible, guess what? Even if you have to stay, if you don't, then that's great, right? But if you have to stay, just don't take the place personal or anything. Maybe you're taking it too personal. Maybe it's your life. It's not your life. In the end, it's the workplace. Okay, guess what? Some people, when you talk to them like that, it's a workplace and you have another life. You have other priorities or opportunities or objectives. It's so much easier for them, because some people, they forget themselves as much as they're obsessed with the work. Is they're like, no, there you have other things. Okay, maybe your other responsibilities, maybe other things you can do, obviously to aim for decreasing your stress and forgetting about the workplace, not for thinking about the workplace as your life, basically, which is wrong. Maybe your family, maybe going out to places you have not gone to. Okay, you want to, you have not gone to, just taking a rest for a day, maybe. Maybe not necessarily for a day, maybe you doing something on the internet, I don't know, going on Facebook or something. Okay, this is also important. Okay, so in the end, this is what's important for you to do, and it's a really it's a really important uh, it's a really important factor for you to think about. It's not a joke, and you really should think about it, especially if you're still in the beginning of your career. You shouldn't stress out. Now, some people, they have this objective that they want to be really strong as a base. That's different, right? If you okay, I want to be really strong. I know as a medical school student that I have to be like this. Okay, great, great. It's not basically out of your control. Okay, so in 20 years, I want to be this doctor. Then that's different. That's a different story, right? I'm a teacher and I want to have this kind of level of, I don't know, maybe being a teacher for some specialty or something like that. Guess what? And you know that you need some years of really stressful experience, work, training. That's different. Okay. You want to have a kind of PhD, I don't know, in something, let's say, okay, research or whatever, or not necessarily, but you know your job is stressful. Okay. And that's different. Okay. You're an engineer, you want to, that's different, right? You want to in the future do a kind of big, huge project for you. That's different. Okay. Then, or architect. Okay. But in the end, it goes back to you, and it's a very, very important aspect that basically you should think about. So obviously the examples I gave before, it makes it, no. Okay. Even if we're searching for career, in these 3 months, I don't care. Even if I'm stressed, I want to get a good job. Great. But don't forget that getting a good job means that you have the approach. So in the end, you have the approach, and you have the different kinds of uh, tools, basically behavior, approach, how you interact. Okay, so you can get used to it. Basically, okay, these 3 months, it's great, but what's important is that you get used to a character in the career and job world that makes it positive. Okay, you don't want these 3 months to impact you negatively, basically. Okay, so you want your behavior and everything else to not to stay. Okay, great, for these 3 months, but afterwards you don't keep it, right? Because guess what? You need to have a kind of influential you need to have a kind of influential you know character or behavior, or a kind of influential approach for you to be strong, basically, in this world of career. Okay, so this is all about self-talk, about having a self-talk, and about having a different a different kind of approach, or a different kind of view for everything. That's what's important here. What's important is that you are very, very strong for the future. It's not only now. So even for the medical school example, that's great, but always remember, I'm building a base. You know yourself, that's great. But if you feel like, no, I should change a little bit, I should change a little bit. I should be kind of more I should be kind of more into maybe having a kind of less stressful, or other options, then that's great. You know yourself in the end. This is what's important, that you do know yourself. Okay, it's not like you don't want a person to push this, also to increase the stress, to push on you their ideals. And no, it's an advice only. Either you take it or not. That's great. Why do you take it? Because it's good for you, not because of anything other factor, right? That's important. Okay, that's number one. Number two, not because this other person is an authority, or because the other person is, yeah, they, I don't know, for whatever. No, it's because, okay, thank you, and you take it for you. Okay, this is what's important here. This is really important for any kind of this. This decreases a lot of stress actually in your life when you think about it in this way. When you look at your different priorities. Okay, so for today, we talked about, first of all, your well being and your you having comfort and decreasing the stress, and in different examples. Hopefully, in the future, I will have other videos about this topic. Please share with me or comment if you have a if you please share with me or comment, or if you have any questions or anything else about this topic or any other topic on my podcast for career counseling and for teaching styles and educational psychology basically. um, so I hope to see you soon, and have a great day.